Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Haltech and Sparesbox. Don't forget Benny 5 on checkout this week. We are preparing the engine bay to put our 2JZ in. I don't know if it is going to make it in there today or not, but we do need to pull our 1GFE out, our 4-speed automatic transmission, all the other garbage that's currently in the bay because we don't need any of it anymore. There's a lot of stuff we need to pull out and change. We need to pull out things like wiring harnesses, ECUs. I am going to actually separate the wiring harness from the engine because I need to potentially test a lot of stuff that we need to integrate onto the 2JZ, things like the factory coolant temp sensor for the dash, the oil pressure switch, our aircon wiring harness, which we do need to modify. We're not reusing the 1G compressor. We're going to split the engine and the gearbox as well because A, it's easier to store in the shop, and B, it's going to be much easier to get it out, not damaging things like the rad support. When you put an engine and box in together or remove it, it's got to come out at a really big angle, especially some of these Japanese cars with shallow tunnels and tall rad supports. So you've really got to be moving it up like this. And being that our Chinese 6-speed is actually quite long, I don't want to be trying to feed the thing in either. So depending on how we go today, the engine may or may not go in the car. I don't want to promise anything because there is a lot to do and there's going to be a lot of fiddly stuff. The car is going to have to go on and off the hoist a few times as well. Because we do need to do things like ECU and wiring harness come out of the firewall because it comes back this way. I don't want to cut the loom either because we do need to test things later. So yeah, I want to have all of that in a solid state. And then also the fact is potentially someone may need that later, so I don't want to go cutting it just for the sake of saving half an hour and pulling stuff out. So plenty of fiddly things. Let's get to it. Ow.
Oh man. Can't tell if we're off to a good start or a bad start.
Why?
Well, it came out, but it hurt.
That's standard.
I would hate to be a mechanic in the winter.
Whose idea was it to lower it before we did anything?
Oh yeah.
Let's make it look cool before we actually make it actually.
Suppose you could raise it with that hoist you got.
If I get the wiring out now, it should mean that I don't have to pull anything else out. I only need to put it on the hoist once.
Yep.
Rather than go on and off 10 times like we did last week.
Yeah, I knew there'd be a reason you hadn't put it on the hoist yet.
Yep. TLDR, I'm going to have to get rid of that armrest.
What the hell's TLDR?
Too long, didn't read.
Long, didn't read. Ah, long.
I actually spent ages modifying it the other day and lifted it up and it still hits.
Ah.
So I'm like, I'm out at this point. But I think I'll be able to use the fabric from the armrest to patch the side of the seat.
It's real bittersweet right now. You know that you've driven it for the last time for a while.
Yeah.
But also...
progress, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a neat place for the ECU.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to... That's the one downside to this car, is trying to put stuff in places where it's not supposed to go. It's quite small.
Wow. It's still like brand new. What are you going to do with it?
Back in the day, ECU manufacturers used to print on the board, what's what, like what pin is what, but it's not labelled. Doesn't matter.
Would that have helped you work something else out?
Maybe.
Did you end up driving the car after installing the steering wheel?
I did. Oh yes, you didn't see that.
How is it?
Because we didn't talk about it.
We didn't?
No, because remember we went to fit it and then the boss kit was wrong?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Shit, in my head we fitted it on camera.
No, I went to fit it and then it was no good.
That's right. So how'd you fix that?
I went and bought another boss kit.
Nice.
The funny thing is, I bought this supposedly correct one online. And to old mate's credit, he did give me a refund for it. But literal local parts store had one on the shelf for 30 bucks.
Can't argue with that.
Nah.
And you've got the horn. That's perfect.
I love how well you edited that horn bead pin.
There's not many cars that would suit that wooden steering wheel look.
Yeah.
But this definitely does.
I don't know, now it's in there, I don't know if I like the colour as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe a bit darker.
Oh, true.
But I'm thinking maybe I could even just stain the timber.
True this. Get your carpentry skills out.
Yeah.
Lucky there's a carpenter next door.
He's a cabinet maker, not a carpenter. He'll stab you if you say that.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not the same thing?
No, Jesus! They're fighting words. Sorry, Clayton, if you're watching. It was GR, not me. It is worth mentioning we have had the air conditioning decommissioned and we did recover the R12. Hopefully we can reuse that later on. This is the aircon evaporator, so we actually need to remove this to get access to the wiring harness grommet and be able to feed this snake back into the bay. And it looks like there's actually a few different connectors potentially that are going to go back into the bay. I don't know what that is. That looks important though. And all of this stuff as well. So yeah, we do need to make sure that all of that goes back through and that we don't damage any of it, because I want to test it at a minimum and potentially, as much as I hate to say it, maybe cut it up to salvage connectors, because we may actually need, depending on how we go about it, we may need to cut either this side and put a new connector on this side, or reuse some of this and put it back into our new loom.
It all sounds very complicated.
It is, and I'm getting anxiety just pulling it apart without Dave. But what do we do?
We film it and we show Dave.
Yep, hopefully. Dave's just like, nah, mate, I'm busy. Save me, Dave.
So Dave is you to me.
Yep, I am you to Dave.
Hold on, let me think about it a sec. I am me to Dave. I am you.
As in, like, I'll be the one asking all the questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When
right,
Dave's
from
doing
that
the wiring.
Yeah. Keen to see it and just not understand anything all day.
You and me both, pal.
This is still aircon mode.
Yeah. I need to be very careful with that.
What's that responsible for?
I don't know. It
Oh,
looks
wow.
like the TX valve or something, maybe. Old aircon things.
On my little screen, I thought it was a wire, but no, that's
It's actually a tube.
Yeah, wow. One bend and that'll snap.
Yeah, pretty much. That's going to be a bad time if that breaks. There's a lot of delicate shit down here. The good thing is it's probably the same as a Cressida.
Surely there wouldn't be many Cressidas like that are wrecking or whatever.
I got a guy.
You got to go. That's good.
It's always a guy.
I'm happy that you don't have to use this anymore.
No, the radiator is definitely going to be replaced. But interestingly, just with the standard one, like as far as we don't need any custom fittings for the hoses or anything.
Oh wow.
The 2J will probably actually use 1G hoses, top and bottom. All right, now I need you to come around here
Yep.
and hold this.
To hold that box?
Yeah, because I want to feed that pipe, because I've got to feed that hard line back through the firewall. Yeah, just keep going.
All right.
Righto, you're out.
Sweet.
I'm probably being oversensitive,
Nah, that's better to
but I'm also
do it
like
that.
just don't it.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts how that's made.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's the TX valve there. But then this has this tiny little copper line that runs out and then comes through here, and that connects into the aircon other valvey thing, which I don't know what that is. It could potentially be like two pieces, like a, because this is obviously quite an old aircon system. I wonder if that's both the parts of the TX valve and it's just an external piece. Hey, we can see things. So that loom is basically free to pull out now.
Lovely.
I think I'm actually going to bag all of those bolts up
Yeah, smart.
and just make it AC rather than it just be
Very
a bucket
smart.
of bolts for the car.
Good idea.
This is why I keep all these plastic bags forever.
So that's just stuff that you've ordered and you just keep them.
Well, if they come in a plastic, like snap lock bag, why wouldn't you keep it?
Yeah, totally.
I think that was actually throttle linkages for the 2J.
There you go. They've even got a nice place to write. Is this tickling anyone's OCD right now?
What, my bad handwriting?
No.
Someone's going to look at that and go, oh, you have autistic handwriting.
No, I meant how good it is. Like, to someone with OCD, that's great. That's
like
so
bagging it
organised and satisfying.
It's not as bad as I'd anticipated. Okay, so all of this stuff is we've got to work out, and then there's also a third connector for the ECU that goes from the ECU to the body. So this is all the stuff that's going to cause us problems. And by we, I mean Dave. The good news is we can put on the hoist now.
That is good news. I'm sure your back's glad to hear it.
Someone left the door open.
Yeah, good noticing. Remember that one time you didn't notice that I left the door open and it almost folded backwards into the hoist.
Sorry
about that.
Was it this car?
No, it was not, thankfully.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah. I think it was an IS200.
Oh, that doesn't matter. That car's dead now.
Sorry to whoever bought that door on the hinge. Nah, it didn't.
If it's the driver's side ones, they're still sitting over there.
Oh, there you go.
Actually, no, that was the ones that I bent. Those doors went to scrap anyway.
There you go.
Because I dropped a wheel balancing machine into the side of it on a forklift one day.
Oh, that's right. Gosh darn.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Lifting?
Yep. Just don't worry, it should stay there. Technically, in Cressida land, this is a Series 2 body, but the crossmember is slightly different to the GBS12 because it had a captive nut on the bracket, not on the crossmember. So I'm really hoping that that is the only difference, and it'll just slot in because it may mean either remaking engine mounts or sourcing a new crossmember, which neither of those are great. So yeah, still up in the air about that one a little bit, but we'll see what happens. It's not the end of the world, but it's just potentially annoying things that are going to stop us moving forward quickly or slowing down the project a bit. So we'll just have to see how it ends up.
It's how it is though, you don't really know till it's here side by side. Is it this that you're referring to?
Yeah, that's the crossmember, and on the GBS12 that nut is actually on the bracket. So we'll probably have to cut the nut off the bracket and then just bolt through that way.
I can't remember, did you do an oil change on this at all?
No.
That's unlike you.
Yeah, but it was always coming out. I did think about it, and then I'm like, it's literally just wasted. It's coming straight out, so.
It's not black anyways. You would have noticed.
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah, you would have noticed that on the dipstick, I'm sure. What are you taking off there?
Transcooler.
Ah, transcooler from factory, but it
it's plumbed into the radiator. Yeah, it's just like a heat exchanger.
Cool.
Type deal rather than a full-on, like external oil cooler.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty common. Some cars even plumb the power steering in like that. The Commodores, actually, they're not exactly related, but the power steering cooler is actually built into the aircon condenser, so that you've got the normal aircon and then you've got power steering cooler is on the bottom of the aircon condenser, which, I don't know, seems overly complex.
Does the aircon condenser get cold? Is that why it's there?
Well,
is that the
technically
reason?
should get hot, really.
Yeah.
Because it's transferring the heat.
Did that just snap?
Huh.
What's the reasoning behind those little covers?
Don't know.
Cool. Grommets.
Yeah.
Maybe just so water doesn't get up in there and rust.
Yeah,
sit there and
probably
rust stuff
snow.
out. Ah, yeah.
Because water would just drain out, but snow would sit in there.
Yeah.
And snow has salt.
What?
Salty snow
Snow
puffs.
contains salt?
Well, not normal snow, but when it's on the road, they salt the road.
But not in Australia, I think you were saying?
No, because we don't have snow. We have slush. There we go. Figured it was easier to just drain the power steering now because these lines are coming off anyway.
And it would have just spewed out there.
Well, it's gonna leak anyway, so I figured I may as well just do it now.
Yep.
Oh, you pulled the key out.
Oh, stitch up.
Well, I was gonna cycle the rack to just push the oil out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we'll sit there for ages.
I see. Do you want to see if I can climb up there?
Nah, it's all right. We've got to bring it down soon anyway. Can you do me a favour and just grab the oil drum?
Yeah, wheel it away.
Because I'm just going to put the pan on the ground. Yep.
Oh no, rounded.
Oh, just every time. Problem is I don't have a long spanner. Sorry, I don't have a single hex socket that's going to get in that space, I don't think.
Wow. Jeez, that looks way rusty.
Saw that off, I think. This is definitely going in the bin, so I think I'll just cut that. There's saving shit and then there's saving shit. Like, that's just a fucking rusty old exhaust pipe. There we go.
What's this?
That is a cat over temp sensor. That's interesting. This actually slips over and then clamps it in.
I'm assuming cat over temp sensor would mean that it's trying to sense if it's heating up too much?
Yeah. Well, basically, the job is to actually tell it if there's too much fuel going down the exhaust. So nowadays, manufacturers actually use cam timing to basically dump a lot of fuel in the exhaust when the engine is dead cold to get the cats to heat up quicker. Just playing the emissions game.
So you want the cats to be warm?
You want the cats to be hot to be efficient, but over temperature basically means you're going to be burning the guts of the cat out.
Yep.
Can you just hold this for me, please?
Yes.
Got him?
Yep. Wow, that's much heavier than I thought.
I know. Got it?
Yep.
Thanks.
I think the scrap guy heard you put this down.
I know. Slither them out from under a rock any minute. We should actually keep that to potentially cut that hanger off of, because we may need that in the fabrication of the exhaust.
Not being a hoarder or anything, but isn't it safer to keep everything until you've done the job?
Yeah. I think I'm in that boat, because the other problem is I'll put it out the back and then I'll go out there and it's just gone.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, again. Like that rear subframe I was keeping, which magically disappeared after a scrap guy had been.
I think I asked last time this came off, but is that just to help with structural support for the tunnel there?
I think it's actually if the tail shaft fails, it catches it.
Ah, true.
I think it's basically a crude tail shaft loop.
Yeah, I thought it was to help support the tunnel, not twist the car up with all the power.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be it. Just saying. I reckon originally this would have been like, I don't know. What did the Crown run?
I don't remember, was it low 20s?
Yeah, I feel like that was it, like 22 or something.
Yeah.
I feel like this would probably run a 20 in its current format. And I reckon it will probably run 15 when it's finished, which sounds slow, but it's actually not supposed to be fast.
Yeah, in a street car.
It's supposed to give me all the feels.
Yeah.
The cranky ITBs and all the good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Where do those washers go? Pretty proud of that handbrake install, just saying.
Yeah, it was spot on.
But it's just neat. Like, look how good it looks. I don't know if we even showed it finished from the bottom side.
Oh, I'm about to. Cut to ads.
You like that?
Yeah, it's great.
I like it.
Okay, so I can't remember, where did you make the join? Oh, it was here, wasn't it?
What join? Yeah, so that, originally the other cable went to that. So this is still all the GX81 handbrake cable.
Yeah.
That's the saddle that was already there.
Yeah.
So this is all the new pieces, and then this is obviously our reinforcing plate and everything, so.
Yeah. That's amazing. I can't remember. Before, it just kept running
see
past.
those two?
Oh,
I
yeah?
bet you that is where the Cressida console bracket that I'm missing goes to.
And you need?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
but I wouldn't be surprised if that, because see you can't get through, if that's covered. Oh, it might be sound deadener. Oh no, it is a sound deadener. Yeah, cool. So, if I can get that bracket, I can punch those holes out and put it in.
Beautiful. Sorry, what's that for again, just for us dummies?
Just the center console bracket.
Ah, cool.
Because at the moment, the center console's only bolted onto that, and then right at the front.
Yeah.
You're not a dummy either.
Oh, thank you.
Asking questions does not make you a dummy. Thinking you know the answer is what makes you a dummy.
There you go. Words of wisdom.
Ah, that's where you put your Turbo 400 shifter cable bracket on. That's a joke for the Cresta.
Right.
That's actually where the Cresta shifter cable P-clip is though, off that tab, which obviously was originally a gearbox earth. We do need to steal this. I need that for my Great Wall gearbox. I need to pull the exhaust manifold front pipe off. Oh, no way.
What's no way?
Oh, just the water pipe that comes off the 1G water pump looks very similar to a 2J one. potentially I could actually use that and then just use the 1G heater hose. We'll look at it once it's apart because it's potential for it to work. Oh no, I think the bolts are too close together. Good chat. Glad we cleared that up. Handy tip with pretty much any Toyota automatic. There are 6 bolts total. There's 5 one color, in this particular case gold, and then you've got a single bolt which is always a different color, which in this particular case is black. This is the bolt you put in first, and it actually has a shoulder to centralize the flex plate to the converter. So it means you can actually do that all the way tight. So this is one of the very few instances where you can actually tighten the bolts as you install them. You don't have to put them all in and then tighten them all once they're in. So it's a really good time saving measure. And yeah, it's just a nice little design with a neat little shoulder on it compared to these bolts which do not have a shoulder on them. So that is why you have one different color bolt on Toyota converters. Colour's actually pretty good considering.
It's a bit rusty looking.
Nah, because it's red factory, so it's just browned off a bit. If it was rusty, I'd be seeing like proper, not clear brown, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Almost like mud. That is our kickdown cable, which does go back to the auto. So not something we're going to need in the future, but it is something I want to keep intact with the box. It may be a saleable gearbox, I don't know yet. So can at least try to sell it. It's not going to hurt to give it a crack. So I'd rather sell it than just throw it in the bin on the first instance. It may end up going in the scrap later, but one of those things when you're doing a project car, anything you can do to save a couple of dollars can put money back into the project quicker, because building cars is not cheap, even when you're a YouTube celebrity. I was just comparing the hose size for the 2J to the 1G, and it's identical.
Lovely.
And it looks like the thermostat housing is also identical. It's just a glorious thing here. Plort.
Man, that's crusty.
Yeah, it's normal. This car's older than you, bro.
What year is this?
91. What year were you born? 93.
Yeah, that one. Good
So
memory.
you're 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So you were born when I started school. Old Man River. There's got to be more than 2 bolts holding that airbox in, surely. Watch there be a sneaky one. Oh wow, there's actually not.
Interesting looking airbox.
Schnork. That all stays with the engine, so it'll go out of the way. All these power steering, all that can come out now and get rid of all of that. Can we swap the battery tray left to right? I reckon you can, because it can't live there anymore. With a bit of reinforcement, I reckon that's gone straight into that. Oh, all day. Bit of readjustment, then the battery will hide all of that wiring. Yeah, happy days.
So that'll be the new spot for 2Js.
That's the battery going to go there, yeah, because all the intake and everything will be here.
Yep.
Then we'll have catch cans and whatever here. The fuse box I'm going to relocate over here.
Yep.
I can actually take those battery cables out too. So it'll literally go there, and then all I need to do is make a spreader plate to reinforce that, because these are oversized holes, because factory, the holes are open, then Toyota puts inserts into the body.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be too big for a nutsert. And to be perfectly honest too, I don't want the weight of a whole battery on 2 nutserts. Because the other thing that made me think that was possible is that, because then that will go straight across the battery bracket. There's a lot happening, Gian. I like it.
So the next question is, why is this even here?
Because I reckon on either JZX81 or LX81, that's where the battery is anyway.
Okay.
It would have been there on another model. I reckon JZX81 has the battery here, because on a JZX81 the power steering reservoir sits up here.
Interesting.
Either on the tower or in here somewhere. So I reckon there's some Toyota magic going on there, but I'll take it. Because the plan also is to modify the fuse box to mount up here, the way I did it with the Cresta.
Yeah, so this is just going to turn 90 degrees,
Basically, yeah. I'm pretty sure all we did was modify that bracket to make it mount here somewhere. And then we'll also use that bracket to mount it somewhere as well, because this is exactly what we did with the Cresta, was just turn that all that bracketry around. I don't know what this relay is for currently, so we need to determine what that relay is for, and that's the diagnostic port, so that means nothing. That's gone. And this whole charging limb we're going to have to modify, well, to the 2J, yeah, because the alternator's on the other side at the bottom, so probably just make a new main cable that'll go directly to the battery, because it's probably coming in and feeding through here, probably feeds back up here into a breaker or something. Okay. Yeah, 100 amp. So there's 100 amp, which isn't going to cop that anyway, because so that's the current alternator fuse, which we can't use anyway, so I'll just delete that. I might even just actually trace that whole wire and remove it from the back of the fuse box, because this whole charge harness, like I said before, is going to need to be modified anyway. We're going to have to extend it out over to that side.
Are you going to have a breaker for the next one?
I'll put a fuse in, inline fuse in it, yeah. So like a similar fuse holder to what we used for the 12 volt battery setup, probably. In the Pajero, that's in the engine loom, so that stays. That's all out. So that is all going to get modified.
Yep.
Probably actually untape it all and rerun it, because this whole run's got to change. So that's the power supply to the fuse box, which is obviously got to get extended. I may even just put a junction down here to run the cabling, so that I don't know. That's later problems.
This all looks pretty damn scary, because it's running, I don't know, it's like some crazy ass junction that's, you know, some crap's going there, some crap's going here.
Yeah, but it's all got to come not that way anymore. So we've got to reposition it and re-terminate it anyway, so.
So it's going to be snippy?
No, I'm not cutting anything. Hopefully I can untape it and pull all this alternator stuff. I'll probably bring down here to another connector, yep, and then run a new sub loom just back down to the alternator. So I can just run that across the front, or wherever the rest of the harness is across the, yeah, I think the harness runs, yeah, so the main harness is currently in here. So I'll run that sub loom for the alternator down and across the front. I'll also bring power back for this connector as well. So then we'll have power to supply the fuse box. Good chat. That's off. And take that end off too, because I doubt I'm going to be using that. So what I actually need to undo still, I've got heater lines, that earth. Probably actually get rid of that bracket. I just don't like the look of it. The ground doesn't need to be there, and it's such a small ground anyway. I want to upgrade the engine ground, the transmission ground. Actually, it doesn't even need a transmission ground anymore, because A, it's going to conduct electricity through the engine and to the transmission, and B, there's actually no need to have the transmission grounded, because it's a manual, so there's no electronic wizardry inside it anyway. Is there water coming out of the engine all of a sudden? I can hear draining noise. I might even find the block drain today to appease the internet. This is my favourite tool, I reckon.
Big statement.
Well, yeah, it is a big statement. It's not my favourite tool in my whole toolbox, but it's on my short list.
Usually I would twist something like that to try and get it off, rather than use that tool.
I'm really trying to avoid twisting it, because I think this heater fitting is actually plastic, and I don't want to have to pull the dash out just to replace that, and I do want a heater, so I'm trying to be very careful. But I think I'm kind of out of options. Just get my heater core crusher 5000 out. If I just really gently, it doesn't even want to turn. That's the dumb thing. I think I'm just going to cut the hose, because I'm not using that hose anyway at the end of the day. I'd rather sacrifice the hose than the heater fitting. Oh, well, the good news is it's actually brass. The bad news is I have squished it a bit, but it's easy to reform that. Really hoping I can reuse a lot of this. Oh, the starter cable won't work though. Oh, potentially I could use the starter cable from the IS though, just because that terminal's hard to get. Like that long bend. You can get 90s, but the hole ends up here. I think it's pretty much just fuel line and maybe a couple other random bits and pieces. Then the engine's good to come out. And then we can actually pull out the auto. We'll do the auto first, obviously. Let's find the block drain. I genuinely don't think there's a block drain. Take that, internet. One for the good guys. The 2J has one, but I genuinely can't see one. Oh yeah, there it is. Talk too much shit. He's the first to get hit. World first, Benny's Custom Works uses a block drain. Oh, this is just bullshit at this point. Hands.
Yeah.
I can't even undo it. I've resorted to the fact we're never using a block drain.
But can you pull the engine out and then use it? Like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, okay. Like, it doesn't
It's just that I can't get. It's just that I can't get to it. Oh, instantly smells great. Japan Fuel has the best smell ever. Hey. Yep, I'm getting auto fluid in the hair. Ha! The gearbox mount was smoked.
What makes you think that?
The Wi-Fi-ness of it. Well, that can go straight in the scrap bin. I think this is actually only a 3-speed auto too. I did say 4-speed auto earlier.
As you're driving along, you never counted how many times it changes.
No, I'm not a weirdo.
Yeah, right. So there must be
Oh
extremely
no,
long.
it's 4-speed because it's got overdrive.
Yeah.
Yeah, X8 should have a 4-speed auto.
So how are you going to determine if the stuff in the engine bay that you weren't sure about is auto cabling or not? Like, do you follow this that you've
Multimeter.
unplugged?
Yeah.
So you just follow that over.
Well, that's a speed signal, so we actually need that. But then there's all these other plugs up here. Are they gearboxy things? That's out, so I'm going to feed that back. That's the inhibitor switch. The two big fat ones.
Will you need the inhibitor switch, whatever that does?
No, because that's for autos. So the inhibitor switch stops the car starting in gear. Hopefully the weight of the gun is not, or the power of the gun is not outweighed by the extension I've just added. It does have a fair punch, that gun. I'm confused why there's still auto fluid coming out from a box that I drained. Oh, I know why actually. That's a dumb question. Because that oil's coming out of the converter. Because it's coming out of the cooler line. I think that goes back to the converter.
All right.
Sweet, more bell housing bolts.
I mean, duh.
Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, the converter. Okay, so all autos have converters.
No.
Okay.
The majority of autos have converters. So,
Right.
So that's a fair statement.
So how does a converter work? A converter is in converting.
Magical.
Oh, okay, right. So unicorn dust.
You need a converterologist for that question,
Okay, sure.
of which I am not one.
Sure. But the basic
Pete
idea.
Nichols is a really good converterologist, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I do recall you and Pete having some good chats.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Pete. He's a good dude.
Does he live in America? Is he American?
Yeah, he's American.
That's
Yeah,
right.
lives in Texas.
But is it called a converter because it's converting engine
It's a
power
torque
to
converter
torque
to
converter.
tiers. On the basis, it's a fluid coupling, so there's all sorts of magic inside, which I'm not even going to attempt to explain properly because I will 100% say the wrong words.
Cool.
But yeah, it basically is a clutch that uses fluid to lock the converter hydraulically instead of a physical disc.
Wow.
That'll still be wrong. So if you want to know stuff about converters, look at Circle D's YouTube channel or Facebook page because Pete does put videos up from time to time, and they're very, very informative because he actually knows what he's talking about, not like me. Come on. Where's that dowel pin?
Ah, okay.
There it is. Found him.
Nice. dowel pin singular? Or is there
There's two,
multiple?
but they've both come
okay.
out.
Yeah, yeah. It's a murder scene in here.
Basically.
Some director's looking at that right now, taking notes and going, I can use that on set.
Trans oil.
Real safe. Oh gosh. Spline still stuck in somehow, somewhere?
There are no splines. It's auto.
Oh god.
No, it's just the oh, I see.
Ooh, you doing tensile strength?
No,
now?
no, not yet. It's just that kickdown cable's got a bracket on the back of the cylinder head.
Oh, yeah.
So I just got to unclip the cable out of it, and then we're good to go. It's out. Oh, that's interesting / disappointing. The box is fully hydraulic apart from the inhibitor switch and overdrive. So that means that none of the electronics that I thought would be for that are for this. Although we do have the range. So that's inhibitor switch. And whatever the third one is, and then that is our 6. So 7 wires, 8 wires there that are auto, but the rest of it is not auto.
So that means that you need the ones that you just said are not auto.
Possibly.
Okay. Which is slightly less ideal. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just more shit to find.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not ideal or not ideal, it's just more wiring to trace.
Yeah. So far you're just tracing these.
Well,
and
visually I
deleting
can now
those.
tell, yeah, because that'll be the range on the dash that tells you like park, neutral, drive,
Okay.
overdrive.
I feel like when people do anything to do with this, the engines and gearboxes, they're like, oh, we'll just put a 2J in or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about the wiring because, I don't know about you, but if the wiring
thing
crossed
is
my
too,
mind, I'd
Like, I
bail.
want it to be nice.
Of course.
Like this
You're-
car's nice.
But it's good to see because you're doing this to the best of your ability.
Oh, it still smells the best.
Oh no.
What?
I thought that was going down to Armpit Town.
Nah. That's just the return line. The pressure, the supply is the one that's going to go down to Armpit Town.
Is that just going to run forever?
Yeah, but it's going to go into the jerry can.
Yep, sweet.
Just tell me when you're on the ground with the jerry and the hose in it.
Yep.
Good. Is it like going to clear? If I come lower, is it a problem?
Yeah.
Because annoyingly, I need to undo the engine mounts.
E82. Didn't realise it was a thing.
What are you talking about?
When you see it, you can't unsee
I'll
it.
take your word for it, bro. You worry me. You, sir, are an E82.
I'm not sure if compliment.
Watch this engine just backflip out of the bay. Just saying, this fits a lot better than a Barra. Like in the Cresta.
Oh, of course.
It's just so long,
Of course.
like how much room we've got here.
Yeah.
So much. If you take that clutch fan off, there's so much room
And where's the barrel?
in the Cresta.
No, sorry. Where does the barrel come up to?
Oh, like here-ish.
Yeah, okay.
This is going to be so hard at that height.
Yeah.
It's really going to have to come down somehow. Oh yeah, wow, we're literally on it. Yeah. Can you go up?
I don't think you heard me the first time when I said
No,
yeah.
I did.
Oh, okay. All right, going up.
Yeah. I'm excited, but I'm sad.
Yep, bittersweet.
Well, it just means I won't drive the car for ages now.
Yep.
My kids love this thing, hey.
Oh, that's good. Well, yeah, why wouldn't they? It's
I
got
think they'll love it when it
comfy
makes
seats.
dort noises though.
What's that? You think they will
They'll
or they
love
won't?
it. They'll love it when it like is cranky.
Yeah.
I'll be bailing my daughter out of jail, my youngest one, after reckless driving, I reckon. Would not be slightest surprised.
And everyone will look at you and say, well, who influenced that?
And I'll be like, not me. Ah, yes. Of course you would. A fuel hose is caught in a bracket.
Ah, yes.
There we go. Here's a good point actually to check. Now that the engine's actually lifted, check everything's undone before you get 3 foot out of the bay, and then half your wiring harness is a guitar string. And we are very much clear. I think we're above the rad support. Coming out.
Just like that.
That wasn't too painful. I only had to cut one thing, I think, exhaust. So this is the fuel filter.
Yep,
so I think we use the fuel filter bracket.
Yep.
And just banjo, either banjo will go -6 straight out of the end of that. Obviously not this exact filter because it's a million years old. It's probably the original one, but yeah. So that connector there looks like auto shit. That one is predominantly auto, but I'd say that is all dash stuff. Like that's gonna run across to the dash. That'll be like tacho, oil pressure, coolant temp, all that sort of deal.
This leaf's been pissing me off.
Ah, mad, thanks.
Oh, there's another one.
I'd rather tape it all up and store it because we've got whatever the hell that is. Plus we've got open lines here, open lines there, open lines here. No doubt we're gonna wash the bay at some point. So I think I'd rather take all of that out now. It needs a new receiver dryer anyway, which has got to be done with that out of the car. So I think we'll pull the aircon stuff out and then call it a day. I wonder if those connectors are the same. Yeah, mad. It's symmetrical. Someone at Toyota thought about that.
So you couldn't plug in the wrong thing with the wrong thing sort of idea? Yeah.
Yeah, plugging the wrong thing in the wrong thing is bad.
Oh, almost
Catch.
caught it.
That's good enough for me. Yeah,
Thank
bashing
you.
through it today. There's really not much to pull out now.
Like, does all that stay? No.
Yeah, well, it'll come out to paint the bay, but for the next part of the process, it'll stay in there.
Yeah.
I don't want to pull it all out yet because it's just more stuff to store.
Yeah.
And we've still got to do all the fit up and plumbing and planning and...
Yeah.
That bracket can go there. I'm not going to use that again. I can't get over how clean this is, eh?
Yeah. The literal shine.
Yeah. Don't worry, it wasn't living under a gum tree. Shit, it needs a clean. You know, the other thing that sucks, I've got to work out how to block those holes up when I clean the bay because I really don't want all the shit going in the cabin. I could just be power washing straight into there.
They're quite large holes there.
Yeah, they're not small. I think I'll just try and stuff something in there, like rags. Rags would be enough. Like it'll stop the pressure going in there. There'll still be a little bit of water, but not a torrent. Well, we've had a really successful day. Our 1G's out. We've got the bay pretty well stripped. I've got a really clear path forward on what I want to do, where I want to move stuff, what I can delete. Aircon looks pretty straightforward. I can use the top half of the 1G compressor on the bottom half of the 2J compressor. Hopefully that 2J compressor is actually good because it was a freebie, so fingers crossed that actually works. I am going to pull the wiring harness off the 1G at some point. I'm also going to raid the dash coolant temp sensor, and I'm also going to raid the oil pressure switch because we're going to transfer both of those onto the 2J so that we obviously have our dash functionality as per Toyota. We're also going to harvest the fuel filter bracket because I think I can actually recycle that and put the fuel filter directly onto the 2J block, which will save us having to deal with the rubber braided or the rubber line that comes off the factory hard line from the back of the car. If we can use a Toyota style fuel filter for that, banjo straight into it, and then we'll either go banjo to -6 or metric to -6 straight out of the top of the filter, and then -6 into the fuel rail, then into the reg, then back down, unless we actually deadhead it and just go from the filter to the reg, back to the tank, and then deadhead across to the rail itself. So yeah, we can plumb the fuel system in a few different ways. There's pros and cons to both different plumbing methods, so we'll still sit on that one, have a bit of a thing. There might be an Allen question. But yeah, plenty of progress, and 2J's coming in pretty soon. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Gosh, so much terminology there. Deadhead. What's deadhead?
So instead of the fuel going into the rail, then back out using a reg, deadhead it goes like from the tank, like supply line directly to the reg.
Okay.
And then you tee it off into the rail, so just one hose goes to the rail instead of two.
Okay.
So then it still gives you pressure. But there's pros and cons to each method.